Thanks a lot, Anne. I'm also super excited to be here. Really, really honored. I'm with Women of the Future since a year now, and I continue to be impressed by the team, what they do, how they do it, and also in terms of the sponsorship. I think it would be great if more people joining the sponsorship because it's really I would say an issue for every company. And as Anne pointed out, very interesting enough, a lot of people say they can't get women on board seats, they can't get women in Web3. We are underrepresented, but we are so many. So today I want to talk about the future, but the future is already here. So I want to talk about what is going on here. I'm the owner of a Metaverse. So I created my own Metaverse. I'm also sharing uh, more or less what I interact with there. And I'm the dean of the Metaverse Academy. So I'm advising brands, and all this knowledge I try to gain and learn from and working with clients. I also relate to people or companies to train them to provide experiences in VR, or as we do today with desktop. So I'm trying to get as many people on board as possible to drive the future and not to be exposed alone to the very, very big tech, but to really be part of this movement. So thanks for joining me. And let's talk about the future. Let's talk about why I believe the future is now. So when I was a kid, my brother is quite a bit older. He's 5 years older. And as obviously he was a boy, he was so fascinated by Star Trek. And he transferred this fascination to me. Why I'm saying this? Because a lot of what we see is happening now. Actually, we already saw in some of the early days. So look at Minority Report with Tom Cruise. We all have seen how he touched it, and we were totally fascinated. You have haptic interaction, and he could move things around. Obviously, the story behind was also that precogs could see if someone would commit a crime or not. Also, this we already have today. If we also look at the biometrics, the face recognition, in particular, the eye recognition has made big, big progress. This movie was only 15 years ago, but everything moved so far that everything is already there today. We also have holograms. So we also saw that in the movie. And for us, it was like, wow. A couple of years ago, I was also at a concert where there was a hologram playing a beautiful concert. So that was my first encounter. And this is a very, very old version of Star Trek. I remember very well when I was like 5 years old. Maybe I shouldn't say that. You can all count how long this is ago. And what I'm seeing here and what is really exciting, and I tell you why I think it has a great link to today, is the holodeck. So you could enter into a new world whilst stepping into the holodeck, and that holodeck was always for recreation, for training, for something which you can very much happily relate to. So what has happened, and one thing I always admire in a person, and I admire very, very much, I have everything in Apple, I'm completely addicted to Apple, is Steve Jobs. And what he said is that you have to start with the customer experience and work backwards to technology. So in all the companies I worked at, so I worked at AXA, I worked at an executive at UBS, I was always into changing and innovation. So I was always very fortunate. And I always started with experience. So what kind of experience we want to create? Because in most of the instances, you find technology, even not maybe what you have yourself, because the big companies have a lot of legacy, but you find it in other companies. So what is the experience we want to translate? And I think that's something also I would recommend any individual, also any company, to really relate to. And as we are talking about Apple, I have to talk about the Vision Pro. There's a lot of also hype, maybe you can even say, around it, but I think there's a lot of truth in it. So if we look at this picture, why is this so different? Because first time, Apple Vision Pro is quite different from what Meta has. So I have an Oculus, When I step into the virtual world with Oculus, I'm gone because I step into another world. But when I'm wearing the Apple, I can see still around me. And when people come, my family comes to me, they can see me. That's a huge difference. What is the experiences they show? So you can be very comfortable sitting in your living space. You can see other people. People can talk to you. And you can make the world your canvas. So you can make everything you want to basically step into your holodeck. You can put it around you in a nice way. You can use it for meditation. You can use it for looking at memories, maybe from your family. And how this also works when you go even further is that you can go into the immersive world if you want, like you do with Meta, just clicking the button. But that is a decision you can take or not take. What is also very exciting is the way we work is easily changing, because every app we have on all the other Apple basically wearables, or even the iPhone, are also part of the ecosystem here. So you can show a presentation from your computer. You can get with other people together. So you can use FaceTime to bring them together. And what is also quite new, yourself, you can create a digital twin and you use the eye recognition, which we have seen in Minority Report. So everything comes together, and Apple, as always, has done this in a very nice way. You feel very comfortable when you look at the video. I've picked the pictures from the video. It's very different from a cultural perspective because it's all about people and it's all about experiences. And they don't talk about metaverse, they don't talk about AI, because they know that a lot of people are afraid of these terms. What they instead use is spatial computing, which is about the 3D virtual worlds, and you put assets in there which are looking like 3D. So very, very exciting. Another application which I haven't shown here is very much in learning and training. So when you are, for example, a doctor or you study medicine, you can also see the whole heart or every organ you can see in 3D. And studies have proven that when you see that quite differently, you have a very different view. So that does already exist with HoloLenses and Magic Leap, but that's more for the enterprise. So this is for the, in quotes, normal consumer, because as we know, it's very expensive. It's 3,500. Is right now is still very heavy. But remember also what we have seen with the iPhone, that at the beginning it was heavy, it was expensive, it is still expensive. This is a high quality device because you have connected it to the whole ecosystem, healthcare, wellness, everything is connected. So this is, for me, is the most amazing development in the last couple of weeks. The next kind of science fiction I want you to be reminded of is Her. Some of you have perhaps seen it with Scarlett Johansson. The guy on the right side fall in love with a kind of computer, and you always think, how can that happen? And we also know about the uncanny valley effect, which means if the computer doesn't look, it's supposing to look the same, but it doesn't look the same, we get a very uncomfortable feeling. And what has happened so far with Sophia, I want to show you in a couple of minutes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sophia from Hanson Robotics.
Meet Sophia. You may have seen her around. She's one of the most well-known robots out there. She's a globe-trotting fashionista, gracing the covers of Cosmopolitan India and Brazilian Elle. She addresses the United Nations.
I am thrilled and honored to be here.
Hangs out with the likes of Will Smith.
She's just so easy to talk to. You got a clear head, literally.
Duets with Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show.
So what you could see here is what I mentioned before. So she is on purpose. She is designed to not look exactly like humans. But what we also see now is that we see more development into how this could look in the future. And she's only 5 years old. And what amazed me, what is also only up since 2 weeks, she has her Sophia verse, like I have my metaverse, and they are using NFTs based visual representation of Sophia's advancement for her self-consciousness. And her kind of brain looks like a real brain. So you have the left side and the right side. And what the Sophia verse is about, that she interacts with human beings. It's a game, so there's a lot of gamification, and the idea is to create a better Sophia for a better society, for a better world, and we can shape it with her. So there's a lot of interaction. I've registered. You cannot play it yet, but I find it really, really interesting. And Sophia's use cases right now, where she is already deployed and where she is tested, is helping elderly people. So that's another side of tech we always have to bear in mind. How can we make it more inclusive? How can we get people more access to this technology, even though maybe a price might be very high? What is the future of this technology to get more people into this? So I try to imagine how Sophia could look, and you see she will develop in the future, and she will look like that. Maybe not as a digital twin, that's a different thing. It's more the robotics and how this gets connected with AI, how this gets connected with the metaverse. We have seen everything is converging. And that's what I wanted to show you here. So we have talked about the experiences, and just I gave you some flashes of robotics. I gave you flashes of AI, VR, spatial computing, and metaverse. And how it all comes nicely together is by the so-called neural networks. So the neural networks work exactly like our brain works. It connects everything. And a lot of people say, yeah, why you believe it's now and why you think it's exponentially growing. I believe that, and I can see that every day now, because we have a big convergence. We have digital wallets, we have smart contracts, we have cryptocurrencies. So we have everything, and everything comes together. It comes together for genetic coding. It comes together for what Tesla does. So we cannot look at this in silos. We have to look at it as one big convergence and how it interacts with each other. And that's really the beauty of it, that we first time have this connection between what I would call all the emerging tech by neural networks. Very, very beautiful. And one of the very easy, let's say, ways how to do virtual worlds is Unreal Engine, where real or unreal becomes real and everyone can use it. That's another thing. We talk about the creator economy. So you can very easily right now also create your own metaverse. I jump over this so that we can go a little bit also into the different layers of what's called the layers of the metaverse, because sometimes there are some confusion when Apple speaks about spatial and then some other people speak about the wearables. How does it all connect? And there's really a beautiful layers, you can say, chart, which is this one by John Radoff. He has created it already years ago. He's very long time already in this space. He's a gamer. So you see that the spatial computing is really part of the metaverse. So the metaverse is not dead. It's the opposite. The more we see in spatial computing, the more we see as human interface, brain chip interfaces, mobile, smart glasses, everything developing, wearables, like we have seen from Apple, the more the metaverse becomes real. So is the metaverse already there? I would say no. We say pieces of the puzzle. It's a big, big vision we have right now. It's the future of the internet. And what's the real definition of this will be in the future, we are all shaping it. So there's always a question, oh, you are an expert and can you explain it to us? I do think there is a simple vision definition, which is the future of the internet, is interconnected, interoperable. It connects the real life with the virtual reality. But this, how it whole plays out, is something which I find really, really amazing we can create together. So let's look at this neural network, just a couple of minutes, to make sure we all understand what is happening now.
Everything you see here is real data. We're looking through a microscope at neural tissue, going down through an area of the brain called the medial prefrontal cortex. We can use these microscopic images to reconstruct the three-dimensional layout of neurons really see the intricate and intertwining patterns that they make. These connectivity patterns throughout the brain underlie all neural function and are responsible for everything from controlling your muscles when you tie your shoes to how you feel about your family. Understanding these patterns is a massive ongoing project for neuroscientists everywhere and could lead to breakthroughs for everything from consciousness to depressive disorders and schizophrenia. In this example, we injected purple dye into a
So you have seen how it's all connected, and we sometimes forget it. We have such a beautiful brain. And why I find this so important is that what we have seen in emerging tech, neural networks are copying our brain and connecting everything. And for us also, every experience we have, and in particular, as we are now also with the Apple provision, we are going more haptic. The brain areas will change and our experiences will change. A lot of the biases and behaviors can be changed with VR. So it's really creating a beautiful mind with emerging tech, and we can learn so much from who we are and what we do. So let me see that we go to the next. Give me 1 second, please. So perhaps I need to play to the end. It's not logical to me, but let's see. Okay, like this. So the real question, let me go there quickly. So the real question also we have right now is there a lot of discussion about AI. Elon Musk, who's obviously one hand saying we should stop generative AI, on the other hand developing it himself, has said many, many years ago, AI will be smarter than humans. We have also seen that people like Sam Altman from OpenAI, who has created ChatGPT, is very clear on the mission to ensure that artificial general intelligence, AI systems that are generally smarter than humans, benefits all humanity. So that's a very important aspect. And we should not forget where we are going. And a lot of people are scared, but I think we can take a lot of people with us when we train, when we talk about it. We have this wonderful community at Women of the Future, where we have a great expertise for quantum computing, AI, Web3, applications, experiences, technology, to understand where we are going, and more important, that we shape it. And Aspen Institute has talked about equitable AI, which for me is the most important. It has never been clearer that we share an urgent responsibility to ensure that scientific and technological advances serve the many and not just a few. So we have to make sure we give access to as many people as possible. And I want to show you now what I'm doing just in a short 1 minute, and then I would love to get your questions. So the future is really, really now. Thanks a lot for joining in. And in the Metaverse, I really like to collaborate with different people. I promote in particular women. I'm working with Krista Kim, who I got to know through the Women of the Future, with Nova Lorraine, with Ingrid, with a lot of different people. So the best way to take care of the future is really to take care of the present moment. So become active, get engaged, meet me in the Metaverse, meet us as Women of the Future, use this kind of beautiful events where you see such a variety of wonderful women. Thank you.